And welcome back to the Quirk Creation series. This didn't come out yesterday like I intended. I went saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That review will be up later today. With my girlfriend. I just didn't have a lot of time to do the video, so I just decided I'd wait for today. It's not going to be a long video. And we have Sasuke Uchiha. This is not a requested one. This one just comes off the personal list. I got more requested one. Don't worry, though. And yeah, the question is, what is Sasuke's quirk? Well, put it very simply, it would still be the Sharingan. Like what we do in Madara, I think what we can do with the Uchiha is basically say this is kind of a genetic lineage quirk. Like similar to how quirks can be passed on to, your children, all that. It's genetics. And we can do that here as well with the Sharingan. Now, that being said, the uniqueness of each Sharingan, I think, comes out with the awakening of the Sharingan, with the awakening of the quirk. But first off, what would Sasuke's hero name be, or villain name, depending what it would be? Well, I think he would probably go with the Raven, with the Avenger, because that's what he basically called himself. It's like, I am an Avenger. Or he might go with the Raven Avenger, something like that, because he does, ravens, crows, even though that's Itachi's thing. Maybe he does that in honor of his brother. He's got the blackish blue hair. Maybe that could work. But the question we have here isn't what his hero name is, or villain name. The question is, what does his quirk actually do? So we went with the basic idea of the Sharingan quirks, the tracking abilities, tracking movement, all that, and even base copying quirks. You can't hold on to them, just like Monoma, but you can basically use quirks. You can use quirks you see, and I think you can use multiple at a time, unlike Monoma, which is the advantage Sharingan would have over Monoma's quirk. And you don't have to touch anyone. But the awakening of a Sharingan, I think, in everyone results in the Susanoo effect, the chakra or energy construct that surrounds you until and gets stronger as you perfect it. But each one is different. I think for Sasuke, there are two options here. Now, there's two options because I had to think about like the Mangekyo and how it was different for each person. Like when Madara, we know he could summon the meteorites down. I try to remember some of I think really what I did ultimately with Madara, if I remember correctly, was actually just have the straight Susanoo as his quirk. What I think we can do here is kind of do one or the other. We can do the Susanoo, but have it different than Madara's. Or we can have a different effect. And hear me out. So if we do the Susanoo, one of the things that Sasuke definitely did multiple times was spam Amaterasu a lot. That he did that far more than anyone else in the series. It just became his binky, basically. It's like my good old reliable. And what if we maybe say for instance, we say that his Susanoo is made of the black flames of Amaterasu. That he that instead of this bluish, actually his is purplish skeletal construct, he has this black flaming one that just starts to burn everything around him. Now, I think the catch to this is because he is not a natural fire user, at least here for a quirk, he is at risk of his own flames. He's got a safety zone, similar to like in Bleach that Zenbon Sakura has a safety zone that you don't get cut in. He probably has a safety zone he doesn't get burned in. But hypothetically, he could be damaged by his own technique. There would also be the constant output of energy you would have to be using. This would be a very taxing ability. So that's one way we could go. But the other idea I like is the true ability of his Sharingan, his particular Sharingan, is not related to his Sharingan, but technically more related to his Rin Sharingan, or Sharingan as I prefer to call it. And that's the ability to swap the placement of two objects. Now, technically, it has dimensional travel, is what it actually can do. Plus, all the other Rinnegan abilities there, too. But what I'm referring to is swapping the place of two different objects. And we've seen him do this in the last movie, the Naruto last movie, Boruto, the Naruto movie. We saw him do that in the fight with Momoshiki, when him and Momoshiki were basically, he swapped places with Momoshiki and his sword that got wrapped up. Or some places with him and Momoshiki. He can basically just swap the places of two different things. I kind of like that better as a quirk because, A, believe it or not, that's still a super powerful quirk. Space-time manipulation quirks are so rare in My Hero. as to almost be non-existent. You have Ares reversing Quirk, or rewinding Quirk, I should say, which definitely involves time manipulation on some degree. But there's no time travel Quirk. There isn't a lot in terms of spatial quirks that involve manipulating space itself, like creating a portal or something like that. There's teleportation, but even those, they say, are extremely, or warping as they're called, but even those are extremely rare. So swapping the location of two different objects or people or whatever is actually very unique and very strong, and would fit Sasuke very well, because Sasuke could be ruthless. He could easily just swap places with a person, or would say there's like an opponent next to him in our group of opponents. He swaps places with one of his opponents and goes and right next to the one he wanted to kill, stabs him, and then just swaps right back. That's simple. Or if he needs to make a quick getaway, this could be why when he goes, say, rogue in whatever My Hero Naruto crossover I ever do, he's so hard to like pin down and get, because using his quirk, he can basically not be contained unless he's blinded. He can always use his quirk to get out of a place, so long as he's got a line of sight. Because he could easily just look out his jail cell and just see the outside world, just swap places with a squirrel. He can easily just, while running away, swap places with something farther down the line, because the Sharingan gives an extra, a better eyesight, probably better, farsight. He's got his radius of view is very long. What's the word I'm looking for here? Hindsight. Is it foresight? Is basically just hindsight is basically looking at something saying you should have done this. Foresight is having the wherewithal to basically do something before something happens. But neither of those are what I'm talking about. You're nearsighted, which means you can't see far distances. You're farsighted, which means you can't see short distances. I don't know the terminology for just being able to see very far away. Basically, it's kind of like, what is the support course girl's name with her quirk? Oh, it's bothering the hell out of me. I have the manga like in the other room. I could easily pull it up. Basically, kind of like her quirk, nowhere near as effective as her quirk, but kind of like her quirk, where she can basically just zoom in and see farther. Sharingan can kind of do that too. You can get at least some distance. Not as good as the Byakugan, mind you, but still. But point being is that he could see something far off distance and start kind of hopscotching away, basically teleporting away, or mock teleporting anyway. But this could also, if and when he ever turned back to the good side, this could also be fantastic for switching places, where like saving people from like a burning building or something like that. Or rescuing people, because let's say they're in a burning building, he can see like 5 people in a building, so he just gets 5 objects and just swaps places with them really quick and be like, you're saved. Good for you. Or let's say he's got to get heroes to a spot really quick. Hypothetically, if you could have, okay, I was about to say something, but then I realized this could be a weakness of the quirk unless he like evolves it further. So we're talking about how strong this type of quirk would be, and it would be a strong quirk. What would the weaknesses of this be? Well, with like any Sharingan, awakened or otherwise, I think strain on the eyes is a big thing, because you're still using your eyes for this. You could cause your eyes to bleed. Theoretically, you'd be at risk of like blowing your eyes out of your sockets. So that would be a risk. Also, being blinded. If he can't see anything, this quirk means nothing. But C, I think the thing I was about to allude to is, I imagine that one of the limitations of this quirk would be he has to see something legitimately in the area. He can't just give him a video of, let's say he's in Africa. I'm just using a hypothetical, and they say, all right, here is Uluru in Australia. Go there. He can't do that. He needs to be in the area. Hypothetically, if he maybe worked on his quirk, he could do it to a certain degree. Maybe if he's visited the area before and you like then have that on like a screen, that might be something he could do. But he can't just go to a place he's either never been to, or it's so far away that it's just unreasonable. So again, limitations definitely built in. Also, hypothetically, it could be possible to trick this quirk. The reason for that is, let's say Naruto, I don't know, quirk. I'm not saying this would be Naruto's quirk, by the way. In fact, if anything, it's not. I think I did already did Naruto's quirk, but if Naruto theoretically had a clone quirk, child clone quirk, made multiple clones, hypothetically, Naruto could trick him using using a clone technique or an illusionary technique that makes, say, an illusionary double that Sasuke can't necessarily see immediately. He could be tricked by that because there's no physical form there. He's not switching places of anything, and either it does not activate or he's just suddenly there and it's like, what? But because the Sharingan can theoretically see through that, that might be negated. Either way, though, I don't know. Do you like the Amaterasu thing? Very simplistic, whatever. Or do you like the other version I did? I kind of like the other one better. It's more unique. It's still referencing something Sasuke did in the series. And it would kind of fit Sasuke, who is very strategic and very powerful and very intelligent. So, I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you next time. Later.